everyone. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Current. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today I have a special guest all the way out in New York working on a ton of cool projects, namely an NFT project called Shabangers. We have Peter Hurley. How are you doing today?
Hey, Richard, how are you? I'm good. I got up early. We're here. I'm doing it.
Hey, early bird gets the worm, man. I'm glad you're able to join me on this. And
That's
really,
it.
man, you have a ton of background in photography and art, and it's only fitting that you brought that energy into what your NFT project with the Shabangers. And I'm excited to learn more about that. But before we do that, people want to learn more about you. Can you give us some background on yourself?
Sure. I picked up a camera. My name is Peter Hurley. I'm from New York City. I have a studio here. I shoot portraits. I'm a portrait photographer. Picked up a camera when I was 30. I was after, I guess the long story is I was training for the Olympics. And while I was doing that, I raced sailboats. I got in front of a camera and I was modeling for Polo and Abercrombie and all these different brands. And the photographer said, pick up a camera. And I was the model, actor, bartender dude who couldn't rub two nickels together, really. I was like, I got to make some money. I'm picking up a camera. And here I am like 20 years later. And now, you know, the landscape of everything has changed. And my portrait photography has taken me around the world. And I run the largest group of headshot specialists in the world called Headshot Crew, which is my brand. But that's what it was. And then all of a sudden in the last year, this NFT thing pops up and I'm like, what is going on? What the hell is Gary squawking about every day? And I was like, so I listened to him and I was like, and then one of my buddies was like, hey, we got to, the photo community needs this. We got to get in on this. I think as artists, it's such a huge thing, right? And I'm trying to to be on the forefront of something and to have something new come in that makes such an impact for people is rare, right? I mean, this NFT business is crazy. So the learning curve steep for me and everybody else, I guess. But the difference is, so being a photographer, like I photograph people. So if a person gets in front of my camera, like I'm going to photograph them for their personal brand. I'm not going to be like, hey, like maybe I can sell you as an NFT. That's just a little weird, right? Unless they're a big celebrity and I agree on it with them ahead of time, which I've done already. Well, we're going to sell some NFTs with some people that I photographed, which is really cool. But this idea came as, wait a minute, I'm a portrait photographer. Maybe I'll work into some of my special portraits, or I'll shoot portraits specifically to be sold as NFTs, which I think the community needs, like the artists out there, the photographers. Like I'm always telling the photographers that I coach that we need multiple sources of income. And here's one that just landed in our lap. It's like, you got to get involved. So I've been on the phone with sponsors and stuff, working on this stuff. I could talk about how exciting it is. But the main thing behind my project is the artwork that you see behind me. So
real quick, before we get into that, and for everyone listening, of course, on the podcast, please tune into our YouTube so you can see all the amazing things. Peter is repping his shirt. He has his NFT projects behind him, some really cool visuals. So make sure you go check that out. But a couple things I don't want to brush over really quickly, like the fact that you were a model for all of these big name brands and you're like, let me get on the other side of the camera. And then over the course of 20 years, would have turned that into a really big photography enterprise is awesome. And it speaks to the hustler in you, the person that saw an opportunity in a way to keep expanding a passion that kind of just came to be. But even within that, you saw an opportunity to get into a new vertical, which is the NFT space. So if I'm guessing, the crypto blockchain NFT world is fairly new to you, which is fine. Like you kind of got into this world as of the time of this recording in 2021, and you saw an opportunity and now you're diving into that. And I just want to give a quick reminder to all the listeners, you're not late to this game. You are still early into this game. You just got to start educating yourself and finding opportunities and ways to get involved. And in this case, Peter found a way to do that through something that he's passionate about through his photography. And now he's turned that into Shabangers. So Peter, can you kind of walk us through a little bit of, how you were able to do that and what exactly is Shabangers?
Yeah. I think that you're right. Like the crypto space is so new, and I had started to dabble with crypto a little bit and own a bunch myself now, and am kind of on the edge of my seat today. I was like,
good old end of year red.
Got to stay in a good mood today, everybody. We just, but yeah, I started to hear this non-fungible token thing come up and come across the airwaves on social and stuff like that. And I followed Gary V and another one of my clients who I've photographed and a friend who's actually I have got some of his NFTs, Tom Bilyeu. I listen to those two guys. So I think it's about absorbing content. So listening to podcasts like this, like how much information can I possibly get out there? And now with Twitter Spaces, trying to listen in on them and get the finger on the pulse of what is going on, what's like a flash in the pan, what's actually going to stick around. And like I've built this off my community. So the only way I could do it is because I have a community of photographers that follow me, mostly Instagram, YouTube, and through my Headshot Crew coaching platform. We have 19,000 photographers on that alone. So I had the following to just go, wait a minute, I need to take this. I have an online community. Let me take it to the next level. And then it just happened to coincide with Facebook going to Meta. Like I was like, wait a minute, hold on. This is crazy. All of this is happening. And the co-founder of Shabangers with me is Vadim Davidov, and he came to me, and he's a buddy of mine and has worked with me in the past. He's actually one of the photographers on my team, and I coached him for a while, and then I've worked closely with him. He was the one that was he's the brains behind the operation. I'm just the looks. I just get out here and I talk. I'm learning. I'm trying to absorb, but without him and the team that he put together, it takes a lot to be able to do something at this level, I believe in. And working through all the things that we're running into with getting these things, out there minted and on OpenSea, and then having them, people trading them and stuff like that and going in and out of them is really interesting. So we just added all these rarity traits to them, and then utilities. So the utilities are all based on like stuff that I've done or am doing, and I continue. My plan is to continue to grow it through sponsors and bringing on different brands. And I'm having meetings with brands now, and everybody's like, "What the heck is going on?" And I'm like, I'm telling you, and they want like everybody knows right now, if you've followed this space, that brands are like, "How do we get in? What do we do?" And teach me. Like I've had the marketing officers at different photo brands calling me and being like, "What the heck is going on?" And I was like, I was on the phone for an hour yesterday with one of the most major photography brands in the world, and I'm like, we're going into the metaverse.
Yeah. And figuring out ways to get that done. And there's a lot of different parts of Shabangers that I want to go back and reemphasize. So there's three pieces. One, I want you to talk about the artwork itself. So for me, just looking at, what I'm seeing on the screen. So it looks like we got some basically people in their bodies, you replace their heads with like different types of cameras. And then they're wearing like different types of things in their hands. They got on different types of shoes. So a lot of really cool artistic things happening with that. So I want to spend some time just talking about the artwork. Then you talked about utility. So if you can spend some time talking about the utility of owning one of these and what are the perks of owning a Shabanger. And the third, like you said, going into the metaverse. What does that mean for people, and why is that the future of where NFTs are kind of going in that direction?
Well, first of all, the artist is named Sergey. He's in the Ukraine. So when we decided to do this, we knew we wanted to get a project going, and I knew that it wasn't going to be my artwork. I knew that I just felt more confident. I was like, so we found an artist, and the second I saw one of these bad boys, I was like, I'm done. I'm in. The guy's just, he's a trip. He's just like, oh my gosh, these things are so dope. I was like, people are going to love them. So they're the coolest looking photo project out there that I've seen. And what it is there's different cameras on their heads. There's a bunch of different variations of them. And we did them randomly, obviously with all from the shirt to the pants to the shoes to the backgrounds to the accessories and the different cameras that over the years. So he made up camera, like built like old cameras that you don't even know existed to ones that are currently on the market. So, and then they were randomized. And then when we dropped you just get your shabanger, and then we were calling it a shabanger in the oven. We didn't sit there and we didn't reveal them for a while, and then we revealed them, and people got fired up, and then we just attached the utilities to them, and let the cat out of the bag on those on Christmas Day, so like 4 days ago. So it's all happening. It's pretty cool. In terms of the utilities, I started with some of the things I do. So I do workshops globally. I use certain products, like I'm a Canon Explorer of Light. So I shoot Canon exclusively, and the R5 is my weapon of choice. I love it. It's just an awesome camera. So I was like, we got to give away one of those. So we gave away one of those. I designed a lighting setup for photographers and videographers and filmmakers. With this, the company's called Westcott, and it's the Peter Hurley Cynic Flex Kit is what it's called. So we gave away one of those, and the guy who won it is in the Ukraine. So I got to figure out how to get that thing over there. I'm like, oh my gosh. I just did a workshop I have a studio in Burbank, and I did a workshop out there, and I invited anybody. The first 3 people who hit me up who own 3 Shabangers got invited to the workshop for free. So it's an $1,800 workshop. So they got to get in, owning 3 Shabangers, they got in for free. So like things like that, we're going to be doing more of that. We're going to do an annual party here in New York City, that people, if you own a Shabanger, you'll get into. Obviously, you get entry into the Metaverse, and which we are building. It's a process, and we're trying to figure out the main thing about the Metaverse for me is that I want these suckers to look really cool when they're in there, and I want you to, if you own it, you should be cruising around in that thing, like that's your guy, and I think that would be cool. So we're 3D rendering them now so that we can, and then we have to find designers that go, okay, I can get you in there on that level, because I don't think the technology is there to get them to looking similar to this in a 3D model in the Metaverse. But that is the plan, and they will be. I think for me as a coach, and I'm coaching photographers on a daily basis, like to actually do it in the Metaverse, like when you're feeling like you're with somebody when you're talking, like I can't wait till that moment's going to be weird. It's going to be kind of cool.
It's going to be surreal, man.
And especially with what's going on now. Like I just got back from Europe, and I was teaching a workshop in Amsterdam. And then I went to Barcelona and sailed in a world championship. I still race sailboats, but with COVID, it was like, am I going to get home? How the heck am I going to get to Barcelona from, like, I went through Heathrow to Amsterdam, and somebody on my plane had COVID, and British Airways knew. So they like called me every day for like 10 days straight, like to make sure I was okay. And I was quarantined. I was like, I'm not even in the UK. I just passed through the airport. Like, stop. Like, so right now, I think everybody, it's been a little bit tough the last year and a half, 2 years, not being able to hang out with people and stuff like that and being away. So I think the Metaverse coming in time, it'll give us a little bit more. I mean, obviously it's going to be totally different and totally strange and foreign to some people, but I think all the gamers out there get it already, right?
Oh yeah. It's, earlier this year, I met someone who's working on a project in the virtual world, right? And I was able to just tether it through my computer and kind of see like what are the things that are being built. And I was like, this is amazing. And the barrier to entry into, like, I guess, virtual reality has kind of been there. And because of what Meta's doing with Oculus and some of these other virtual reality glasses that are becoming more affordable and able to bring more people, whether it's like having it be tailored to your computer or literally just be on your phone where you can have it, it's providing a lot more access to people who want to enter that space to have the ability in an affordable way. But the other part of it is that we're early in the sense that, like you said, the 3D rendering and everything that's kind of being put into the Metaverse, it's going to take some time to really get it to where it's just, oh my gosh, this is amazing. The way I kind of like do it in a way for the gamers out there who understand it. First we had Atari, the Pong that first came out, and we were all the way at a point where the PS5's out. If anyone's seen that, the graphics are just insane, right? I'd say we are just elevated from Atari to the very first like Nintendo. Maybe a little bit past that. We're not at Nintendo 64 quite yet, but like we're early, and I think we're gonna like be able to jump to where we are in the PS5, let's call in the next 5 to 7 years, but all the same, like it's coming. And if you can get into this space early, the opportunities are limitless. And I think you creating this NFT that's kind of then also have a way to be merged into the metaverse, creating your own community within that is so awesome. And kudos to you for finding this and then finding ways to like get this going, right? There's a reason that all these big brands are coming to you, asking you these questions, because they're starting to realize that this is where we're headed.
Yeah, they need to be involved, and they know. I think but I think it's just happening because if you're not in this space, if you're not on Twitter and you're not seeing NFT all over the place, you heard it in your ear from somebody, and then you're like, what the heck is that? And now it's starting to, you heard it yesterday, now you heard it today, then you heard it, you're going to hear it again and again and again. So I think that's got everybody perked up. So many people, just by me saying I'm doing this, have reached out and asked me what the heck's going on, and it's right. And it's really interesting to me. But yeah, we're early. We're really early. Like, I mean, we don't even have a metaverse built yet, and I don't know, what 5 years from now is going to look like. Could you imagine if we're all cruising around in a metaverse and we were having this podcast sitting next to each other, just talking like we're just
Exactly, right? Like literally sitting in the same room, and it's going to open up a lot of doors. And the next question I kind of have for you is kind of twofold. One, what would you tell someone who is kind of on the fence about like they're an artist and they've thought about, I've heard about these NFTs, I've heard about the metaverse, I've been thinking about how do I get involved? What would you tell that person about some first steps they can start taking if they're serious about exploring that possibility?
Well, first of all, I think every artist knows what, should have their craft down to the point where they know they have a sellable product. Like the artwork's going to sell itself. Like these things, like I think I'm great. I think the community's great. I'm excited about Shabangers, and Shabangersville is the world we're creating in the metaverse. I'm going to be the mayor. Nice. I'm excited about all that, but the artwork is cool. Like it all goes back to like, I'm not that kind of artist. Like I said before, like I'm not going to, I will sell some of my stuff as NFTs, but I have to think on a different level in terms of what I'm shooting and what I might sell. So everybody out there is a creator, an artist probably has created a look and developed their craft to the point where they create something that has their stamp on it. And if that's able to be sold, which you wouldn't know until you get it up there anyway, probably, unless you have a gallery that, or somebody that's pushing your artwork for you, that would make sense. But getting it on something like Foundation or, you have to get it out there. You're going to have to spend some money to mint it, to put it up on the blockchain so people could actually grab it. But, at least you got to try, and who knows where we're going to be. I just think the income stream from that is something. I think the coolest thing about it is the residual source of income from after other sales. So artists never had that before. You sell if I sold a portrait to somebody and they take it and go, hang it on their wall, and then they sell it at a garage sale. I don't know that they sold it. I don't know where, whatever, it's gone. Right. It's like, or if I'm fairly prevalent in this. I don't know if my work is going to be worth more and more and more one day, but then all of a sudden now, it can be followed around on the blockchain and you can get a residual on it. Like that's crazy, artists. That's like every photographer out there should be going, what? and they need to, and you need to get your work dialed in so that you can get it up there and actually get eyeballs on it. And hopefully you're creating something special that people will want to own. The thing is the ownership, wanting to own it. Like I think these are cool as collectibles, whether I the Metaverse comes tomorrow or it comes in 10 years or whatever, Shabangersville is built or whatever, I'll still be doing the utilities and stuff. But owning one of these is just cool because the artwork is cool. So that's the basis of it, and I think that's it. I think some of these projects out there, I'm like looking at the artwork and I'm like they better have a really freaking cool community because that thing kind of sucks. I was like, but people are buying them and spending a ton of money on them. So I think that the ones that are going to last are going to be built off the community traits and the aspects of it. And that's why I'm going to use my influence the best I can to keep my community flourishing and keep people fired up about these bad boys.
Definitely. I think every project that comes out, art is the thing that really draws them in. But after that, it's the community and the utility of being able to own one and do that. And it sounds like you'll have a pretty robust roadmap to get that done. So, thank you for that. And for everyone listening, especially if this is something that's firing you up, hey, go back, let's do this a couple of times, figure out how you can start to get these steps in place. And then I guess my follow-up question to that is, what do you see for the future of Shabangers and what y'all are ultimately trying to bring out to the market?
Well, I think the thing that, and like we've talked about, Richard, we're early, right? Yeah. I think the thing for me is that as far as I know, I'm first to the game in the photo industry to bring a collectible. Other photographers have been posting their work, but this is the first photo collectible that's out there that I know of. And so what I'm trying to do, and I'm known as the headshot photographer and a portrait guy, but what I want to do is I want to bring the top landscape photographers, the still life photographers, the sports photographers, the wedding photographer, whatever. I want to bring every type of photo that's out there. And I want Shabangers to kind of represent photography in a way. I mean, there is a camera on the guy's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and Shabang has been part of my brand. I put a YouTube video out in like 2011, I think, and I yell Shabang in it. So everybody knows me because I yell Shabang. So that's the only thing. I was like, it's kind of my brand, but we were trying to figure out a name for these things. And I was like, I mean, everybody, like I'll walk down, I travel the world and I was walking down the street in Paris. A guy ran out of a restaurant, yelled Shabang at me. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, so it's like I was riding a bike down the street in New York City and I went by a cop and the cop goes Shabang. And I was like, so when Vadim said to me, we got to think of a name. And I was like, all right, well, it's NFT space. It's got to be cool. I was like, I was like, Shabang's like this branded thing of mine. And I'm trying to get everybody to understand. It's just when I get excited about a picture, I yelled Shabang and that was it. So I want photographers to get excited about their work. And if they want to yell Shabang, great. If they want to yell something else, whatever they want to yell, just so people get excited about what they're doing. As an artist, I like to get excited about my work. So we came up with Shabangers. And I was like, you know what? It's cooler without the E. So it's Shabang with an A, RS. So I was like, it's just cooler. It's shorter. It's neat. And people seem to like it. So we're going with it.
All right. Well, it's a great way to get to it. And anyone listening to this, if you somehow see Peter out here in the streets, make sure you yell out Shabang, right? Or even Shabangers. He might even get more excited now that you know his NFT play. But hey, man, this has been awesome, man. And I always like to wrap up my interviews with two fun questions. And the first one is, with all the information that you have right now, within, building this out in the NFT space, and could impart one or two pieces of wisdom when you first got started, when you first like, okay, I'm going to do this, what would you have told yourself?
Absorb more information. Like I think, I heard Gary say this. He's like, he heard the thing NFT and he's like, he made the time. Like that guy's busy, Gary V. Right. And he said he made the time to learn about NFTs as much as he could. He spent 50 hours or something. He's like, and I pulled an hour here and an hour there and an hour here. And I'm not even doing that enough now. Like, I really feel like everybody listening, it's time. If you want to get involved in this and you want to, start to learn. There's no authority on the subject yet that I know of. Like everybody's learning. Like we're all like, wow, it's so cool to have this new thing that we can all absorb and learn. So I would spend the time, if you want to get into it, spend the time. I need to, excuse me, I need to spend the time. I think we all need to spend some time. But it's so cool. So I think it's an opportunity. Whenever it doesn't come along much in life where you get a huge opportunity where people eyeballs are on something and nobody's really been doing it yet. Like the people that are the pioneers of this thing are way out ahead probably. And I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in their brains. So I got to be in Twitter spaces. You got to be listening. You got to look at blog posts. You got to listen to these kind of podcasts, absorb as much content as you can.
That's a great reminder. Everyone go listen to that a couple times. Knowledge is power. And it's one thing to also know something. It's another thing to act on it. And right now, from listening to this show, multiple times we've had a couple really, really cool people in all kinds of spaces. And more frequently, we've had some NFT people coming into this space and continuing to say how early this is. So in the world of crypto blockchain, yes, we're a decade in. It's still early. In the world of NFTs and where this is at, even earlier in this space. And just like Peter was saying, there's not a ton of pioneers in the space that are the go-to. I know everything. I can teach you everything. Here's how you do blah, 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 blah. A lot of this is you can come in and learn this and then literally be an asset to a ton of people who just have no idea and won't know for the next 3 to 5 years. And then one day we'll flip a switch and be like, I need to do this. And then at that point, you can have all the knowledge and skills to help them along their way or within your own thing or however you want to do it. So again, Peter, I really do appreciate that. I think that's a really, really good nugget. But again, man, like as we wrap up here, we've covered a ton. I always like to finish on a high note with a final thought. What is a final thought that you want to leave with all the listeners here today?
A final thought. I mean, I do this thing. I got a couple things. Well, I'll just give you one, I guess. I wake up every morning. I do this thing called Wake Up and Goals, and I tell people to get goaling. If you guys want to be into this space, you make a goal for yourself of where you want to look, what it's going to look like for you in a year in the NFT space or whatever it is that you're going to do. So we got 2022 coming up. A lot of people do New Year's resolutions. New Year's gets me going, but it gets me goaling. That's what I do. So I set goals because resolutions, I just feel like it's a resolution. And in 3 weeks, I'm going to be like, all right, I did it. I'm going back to my old habits or whatever. Right. So I just am telling everybody, if you want to make some goals for yourself around NFTs or around crypto, around just multiple source of income, because that's what this is. And for many people, this is going to be their source of income. So make some goals for yourself and see where you can get in a year.
Sounds perfect. I think that's a final great thought. Peter, thank you so much for all the time you've spent with us today. What are ways that people can connect with you, learn more about your headshot crew, learn more about Shabangers and everything else?
The best way is through Instagram. I mean, I use Instagram on a daily basis and I answer all my DMs myself. And I have a link tree there. If you hit my link in my bio, it tells you everything that I got going on, from Shabangers to my photography, to the coaching program, to different contests that I have going on and stuff like that. So you can always get the updates there. Definitely Instagram's the best. It's Peter_Hurley.
Perfect. Well, again, Peter, thank you so much for your time. And for everyone listening, stay cryptocurrent.